And while I'm on the string of making my videos, let's get straight to it. Canelo Alvarez fans, you're not slick. You're not slick. I know what you're trying to do. Instead of giving Terence Crawford credit for besting your guy and winning by unanimous decision and making the fight like frustrating the hell out of Canelo and really whooping Canelo for real, you're trying to change the conversation. You're trying to shift the attention from Canelo Alvarez losing to a guy that was at 147 pounds 2 years ago to now Terence Crawford way better than Floyd Mayweather ever been in his life. Because that's what the conversation is shifting to. The conversation is trying to pit Terence Crawford against Floyd Mayweather Jr. now. Now it's all about Floyd wasn't that good. He really he had a trash end to his career. He was overrated. He was overhyped. He way better than Floyd. Terence Crawford way better than Floyd ever been. Floyd was always, he was always just the favorite of the judges. Terence Crawford is the real champion. He's the real one. He's supposed to be higher than Floyd Mayweather all time. Floyd Mayweather was picking and choosing. Terence Crawford is really the one of all the fighters. And, instead of talking about what really happened a week ago, you want to make this a situation where you're putting Terence Crawford against Floyd Mayweather. You're not slick. You're not slick. Y'all trying to change the conversation up. And I don't like that. I don't like that. You see, because before the fight happened, I saw all these different videos talking about how Canelo was going to stop Terence. Terence was going to get annihilated. Terence was going to get stopped brutally. And, and early in the fight or in the middle of the fight, some of y'all said as soon as Terence felt Canelo's power, he was going to retreat. And it was going to be the same type of situation that Jermell Charlo was in. No, a lot of y'all said it was going to be worse. Y'all said Terence Crawford would wilt to the power of Canelo Alvarez. Now, what y'all saw in that fight was that Terence Crawford was the stronger guy. He was landing the more significant punches. He was getting the better of Canelo Alvarez in exchanges. He was sitting in the pocket and was not moved by Canelo Alvarez punches. Canelo was the one I saw almost buckling a little bit to Terence Crawford's punches. Terence Crawford looked like the guy that had been at 168, and Canelo Alvarez looked like the guy that was coming up to fight the bigger, stronger fighter. But I know some of y'all don't want the conversation to be that, so you're trying to shift it to, oh, Terence better than Floyd. Floyd ain't. Now the conversation is Floyd wasn't shit. He wasn't that good. I don't like that. And again, I've gotten on Floyd Mayweather's head on this channel for his nocturnal animal activities. And y'all know what nocturnal animal I'm referring to. The one you can find in your garbage cans at night or in any neighborhood across America. All right? I've gotten on his head for throwing black folks under the bus several times in several instances. I've gotten on his head for talking about Colin Kaepernick need to be worried about being a starter and not trying to, kneel during the national anthem. All that old buck dancing stuff, I got on his head about it. But I don't like what I will say this, man. Floyd Mayweather Jr. was one of the best fighters I've ever, skill for skill, one of the best fighters I've ever seen with my own two eyes. But a lot of y'all trying to say Floyd ain't shit now to try to take away the attention for what happened to your mans. All right? And you know what else I noticed, man? I'm seeing people say this. Well, Canelo lost, but we got to give him credit. He's a great champion. He's a great fighter. He's a Hall of Famer. Canelo always dared to be great. He always gave us fights we wanted to see, and Canelo is one of them. Not always. He didn't always give us fights we wanted to see. He gave us the Triple G fights. You know what I'm saying? Gave us a Floyd Mayweather fight earlier on. He gave us the Miguel Cotto. He gave us this Terence Crawford matchup. But a lot of y'all was even questioning why the fight was happening because y'all said Terence had no shot. Y'all said Terence didn't have a shot in the dark. You hear me? To beat Terence Crawford. Terence didn't have a shot at all to beat Canelo Alvarez. But, I'm seeing all this, we got to talk good about Canelo. We got to praise Canelo. We got to make sure that we keep talking about how great of a champion Canelo is, how great of an ambassador he is for the sport. We got to talk about how much he's held boxing down since Floyd has retired. We got to thank Canelo Alvarez for always being a true champion and always being a hard-nosed, tough fighter. We got to praise Canelo's chin. All of that, right? And all of those things very well may be true. He's a Hall of Fame fighter. Canelo's been a great fighter. He's been a great ambassador. Some of them times I ain't like his ass not fighting certain dudes he's supposed to fight and having belts and, fighting guys like, what is going on? He's sometimes, but like Canelo's a great fighter though. He's been a great fighter. Hard-nosed, he got one of the best chins I've ever seen in boxing. Those things may be true, right? But my problem is when black fighters lose, all I hear about is how that fighter ain't shit no more. Errol Spence lost to Terence Crawford. Errol wasn't shit. He was nothing but a PBC hype job. PBC, those PBC guys. And I know PBC guys really meant black fighters for the longest of time. That's what it really meant. But when black fighters lose, they ain't shit. They never was going to be shit. They was never good. They was all hype jobs. Devin Haney, y'all said the same thing about him. He was never that good. He was trash. He was weak. Devin beat Lomachenko, and he did. Watch that fight again. Devin really won that fight. I don't care what y'all talking about. At first, I was like, the fight could go either way. It was razor thin close. But Devin really won that fight. To act like Lomachenko blasted Devin out of the water because he had some great rounds at the end, no. Right? But Devin was out here daring to be great all the time. And again, even against Ryan Garcia, a roided up Ryan Garcia, we found out he was on that dope. He was on them drugs. Devin Haney kept getting back up and fought to the end. Devin Haney was all type of B words to y'all. He was all type of PUSSYs. All of that, right? He was never that good. He was a hype job. All of that when he lost to a roided up fighter. You trashed him. Deontay Wilder lost. He was nothing but a bum to y'all. He was garbage. He was trash. He was never that good. Charlo lost. He was nothing but a bum. He was garbage. He was trash. He was a PBC hype job. Tank Davis just had a close fight with Lamont Roach. Not a close fight, a draw. With Lamont Roach. Now, he trash. He garbage. He was never that good. He was always a bum. He was this, that, and the third. Every time a black fighter lose, he trash. He garbage. He horrible. He a hype job. Now that Canelo lost, we got to make sure we always say good things about him at all times. Right? And I feel like these conversations should, you should give fighters credit all the time when they give us the fights that we want to see, even when they lose and they get annihilated, right? Because they're giving us fights we want to see. And again, if you give guys their credit even when they lose, you show them respect, that'll stop guys from not wanting to fight the other best talent because y'all you're gonna act like they was trash when they lose their zero. When they get a number in a loss column, a lot of y'all act like they garbage and they trash. If they know you're still going to value them and respect them as fighters, maybe they wouldn't try to hold on to that zero in their loss column so much, and they would want to fight other top-tier talent if you stop trying to trash them and belittle them. But I just noticed when black fighters lose, black fighters just garbage, they trash their hype jobs. With Canelo, we got to make sure we don't call him that. We got to make sure we talk about him with care, put on kid gloves, and love on him. Right? Where in reality, if this was a Deontay Wilder that lost, if this was an Errol Spence that lost, if this was a Terence Crawford losing to a guy that came up 2 weight classes and losing like that in dominant fashion, y'all would say they were trash, they were garbage, they were horrible. I'm talking to Canelo Alvarez fans, not all of y'all, but a nice amount of y'all. Y'all would say they was garbage, they was trash. If these fighters were if Deontay Wilder was in this position, if Tank Davis, if Devin Haney, if Errol Spence, if Terence Crawford, if they were to lose against a guy who was coming up 2 weight classes to fight them, y'all would have talked about how they was trash and garbage. Let Errol Spence would have lost to Mikey Garcia. Y'all would have said Errol ain't ish. He trash. He should be ashamed of himself. He humiliated. He's an embarrassment to the sport. You would have got out on him. Let's be for real and let's be honest about it. But because it's Canelo, we got to act like, hey, only say good things about him. Only praise and worship him and all of that. And again, I'm not saying he shouldn't be respected as a fighter. He should be given that respect. But I'm saying do the same thing for everybody else. If you're going to still uphold Canelo after losing to a guy that was coming up 2 weight classes and get thoroughly outboxed and getting hurt against that guy, do the same thing for other fighters that take that same type of loss. Don't throw them in the trash and call them garbage and call them ain't shit when they lose in that same type of way. That's all I'm saying, you know? But yeah, man, I'm seeing the conversation trying to deviate all of that. Now it's turning into Floyd Mayweather ain't ish because he ain't do what Terence Crawford did and he was an undisputed champion. Let me say this. Yes, Floyd Mayweather was never an undisputed champion, but it wasn't because he didn't want to fight other guys or he couldn't be undisputed. It wasn't because he wasn't good enough to be undisputed. Floyd Mayweather was one of the first fighters to speak against the sanctioning fees that come with all them belts, right? And Floyd Mayweather did not want to pay them sanctioning fees for all of them belts. So he went after the big fights and the big names in the division, went against guys that people wanted to see him fight a lot of times. Right? Y'all can say what you want to say about the Manny Pacquiao fight. All right? But Shane Mosley, he was trying to get that fight early in his career. Shane said he had a toothache and he didn't want to fight Floyd. Floyd gave you Diego Corrales, right? He gave you Zab Judah, right? He even gave y'all, and this fight, I don't even know how people even thought it was going to be close to Arturo Gatti. He gave you Oscar De La Hoya. He gave you Ricky Hatton. Stop Ricky Hatton. Rest in peace to Ricky Hatton, right? He gave you Canelo Alvarez. He gave you Miguel Cotto. You know? After Marcos Maidana whooped on Adrian Broner, he gave you 2 Marcos Maidana fights after y'all said Maidana should have won the first fight. He came back and did it again. You know? So he gave y'all, well, I did say Diego Corrales already, but yeah. So gave you Manny Pacquiao eventually. Y'all say Manny was too old and Floyd is 2 years older than Manny Pacquiao, but whatever, you know. But anyway, it's just like, you can't tell me Floyd Mayweather couldn't have been undisputed champion at 35 and 140 pounds. He could have easily been undisputed champion at 135 and 140. Easily. He just didn't because he said, yo, these sanctioning fees is too crazy. I don't care about having all the belts like that no more. But Floyd Mayweather has, the fact of the matter remains, he's beaten the most world champions out of everybody. Floyd didn't beat about 23 world champions. Right? If it's not out of everybody, he got one of the highest. He got one of the highest amounts of world champions ever beat. It might be the highest, like 23 or something like that, world champions he's beaten. But now the conversation has shifted to Floyd Mayweather ain't ish. And Terence Crawford way better than him. And it's not even about, they're not trying to praise Terence Crawford with this. They're not trying to give Terence Crawford full praise and adulation. They're not admiring the greatness of Terence Crawford. What they're trying to do is just take the conversation away from they guy losing. And let's talk about Floyd Mayweather not being ish. Not being ish. Because y'all know what a lot of this stuff be, man. A lot of this stuff be an attack on a lot of black fighters. We're going to call it like it is, man. We're going to call it like it is. People have an attack on a lot of black fighters. You know, even after the fight, I saw people saying Terence Crawford was running from Canelo Alvarez. And I say, yeah, he was running his fist upside Canelo Alvarez's head. Running his fist upside Canelo Alvarez's face and his body. That's what he was running at. You know, it's like, yeah, really what it is, again, trying to deflect from the loss that Canelo took to try to trash another black fighter. Oh, Floyd wasn't this and that. And again, I know Floyd been on the nocturnal animal time. So this ain't for me this ain't about me riding and dying with Floyd Mayweather. It's just a fact that I know it's an attack on black fighters a lot of times. Because black fighters not going to sit in the middle of the ring and play rock'em sock'em robots with a lot of these other guys they fighting. They not going to play you hit me, I hit you, you hit me, I hit you. No. Black gems do not really teach black fighters. Black gems do not really teach black fighters to just stand and trade with somebody Rocky style. No. The objective of the sport is to hit and not be hit. Pugilism is the sweet science. Okay? You can put on a masterclass dominant performance while also being defensively responsible. Look at Floyd Mayweather's performance against Diego Corrales. Look at his performance against Arturo Gatti. He annihilated them while also being defensively responsible. Even in his fight Terence Crawford had with Canelo Alvarez, He was catching and shooting, catching shots with his hands, with his gloves, catching and shooting. Like, come on, man. But and again, when you saw him stand in a pocket with Canelo several times and bang it out with him and get the best of Canelo in exchanges. So Canelo really didn't want to stand in that pocket and keep trading. And Canelo looked like he was about to quit in the 11th and 12th round. For real. And that's another thing I want to bring up. Because if a black fighter do that, he all type of, PUSSYs. Y'all call Charlo all type of PUSSYs. He was scared and all of that. And Canelo got so frustrated because he knew he couldn't beat Terence. So he wanted to go run in the corner somewhere. Everybody, Terence and them looking like, what is he doing? I'm looking like, why he trying to walk away? Waving his hand, walking away, turning away. Because he out here getting whooped. And he don't know what to do. He don't know how to figure out Terence Crawford or even compete with that style. And I told y'all before the fight, Canelo was not as skilled as Terence Crawford. He did not have the same boxing skills that Terence Crawford had. I said that, you know. And Errol Spence, my guy, that's my dog. But Terence Crawford, you can't help but to marvel over his ability. After he beat my dog, Errol Spence, I gave all credit to him. Because I knew what I saw in that ring, oh no, Errol had no chance of beating him. Even before the car accident, he did not. And I don't really think it's because of the car accident that he won. Because Errol whooped on Yordenis Ugas and Danny Garcia after the accident. Stop Yordenis Ugas. Gave Danny Garcia the worst whooping he ever had in the ring. For real. So, but yeah, man, it's just like, I'm seeing the little tricks people trying to play. You know, you're trying to act like you're praising Terence Crawford to trash Floyd Mayweather Jr. And again, I just know how a lot of the black fighters get looked at. Oh, you're running. Man, black Jim's not going to teach a fighter to just stand in the middle of the ring and just trade back and forth. That's silly. Teach the fighter how to move, how to be defensively responsible while also putting out a great offensive output. You know? Even Gervonta Tank Davis, because people, they don't say this about Tank because Tank gets knockouts. But Tank is a counterpuncher. He's not a volume puncher at all. Tank don't even throw a lot of punches at all. He's a patient fighter. He has great punch placement. He has great timing. He's quick. He's powerful. And that's how he wins fights. He don't throw a lot of punches, but people don't look at Tank like that. A lot of the people that hate black fighters don't look at Tank like that because he gets knockouts. But if he was winning by decision, they would call Tank a runner too. Right? Because Tank is not going to stand in the ring and just rock'em sock'em robot with you. It's not the style of the black fighter. The style is to hit and not be hit. And a lot of the fighters that fight like this have long careers because of it. They be having 40, 50 fights. Be fighting well into their late 30s a lot of times. You know, sometimes 40s and 50. Look at B-Hop fighting until he's 50, almost 50, 51, 50 years old. You know? Having an elusive style. Having a style that's just not, just stand in the ring and just slug. Yes, that's a great style for casual fans. Yes. But a true fan of the sport of pugilist loves to watch the greatness of a Terence Crawford. You know? But, yeah, Canelo Alvarez fans, I see y'all you're trying to be slick. Trying to change the conversation up. Trying to put Terence Crawford against Floyd Mayweather. And I'm glad Terence ain't even falling for it. He like, man, he said Floyd had his own era and now this one is mine. We both great fighters in our own right. We both had long dominating runs, man. I ain't trying to, you ain't going to put me against him. But now they trying to turn the conversation to Floyd Mayweather wasn't shit. So we can stop talking about Canelo and him losing to a guy that was coming up 2 weight classes. You can say 3 because Terence only had one fight at 154 pounds against Israel Madrimov. And from that fight, people said Terence had no chance against Canelo. Right? But I just see what y'all doing. And again, had anybody had a black fighter been in the ring looking like they quitting, turning around, looking like they giving up like Canelo was in the 11th and 12th round, y'all would call them all type of suckers, all type of you-know-what type of names. But for Canelo, we got to forget about him doing that. We got to love him, praise him, hug him, adore him, kiss him, all of that. Like, come on, man. Yes, Canelo's a great fighter. Yes, he's a Hall of Famer. Yes. But come on, dog. I just want coverage to be the same, equal across the board. When black fighters lose, they ain't ish they hype jobs. When Canelo lose, we gotta just still praise him and make sure we talk about how great of a fighter he still is and how great of a fighter he has been over the years. It's like people be wanting a lot of the black fighters to lose too, because now they trying to put Terence Crawford against the dirty work Canelo Alvarez was supposed to handle. Dimitri Bivol, David Benavidez, right? It's like now you're just trying to. People want to see him fight you. They gonna want to see him fight Usyk and Tyson Fury. They ain't gonna be satisfied till that happen because really they want to see him lose now. They want to see Terence Crawford lose now. Let's be for real. So now they're gonna want to put him in there with a heavyweight, right? And then it's the same thing with Floyd Mayweather too. People will celebrate Floyd Mayweather if he loses an exhibition match at 50 years old. They still gonna celebrate it like no tomorrow, But, all right, y'all, I'm done talking about it. Machiavelli Mills TV. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.